All right, everybody, you already know who it is. It is your girl, Latuska, and I have such an amazing guest today. I have Mr. Brent Gaskins. He is an actor, he is a promoter, he is a business owner, he is a magnificent man with a magnificent story. Let me give you a little bit of background. He's from Brooklyn, New York, raised in Camden, South Carolina. He attended the University of South Carolina, where he was a part of the engineering program there. I'm going to allow him to come in and tell you some more. All right. Hey, Brent.
Hello, hello. How you
Oh,
doing?
tell us.
Blessings, Queen.
I am well. I'm so excited for you to be here today. And I want you to give us a little bit of background about who you are before we get into all of this dynamic stuff.
Awesome, absolutely. My name is Brent Gaskins. My professional name is Brent Mora, Moorer, Mora Gaskins. Uh, I say that, and I have to stress that point. When you become an actor with SAG, you have the choice to choose a professional name other than your birth name or your government name. So I added the Mora, which is my father's side of the family. Um, MC Light is one of my cousins. Her real name is Lana Moore. So that's the part of the family that I'm attached to. So that's why I added that, because I wanted to include my father's side of the family as a part of my legacy. Um,
Oh,
so yes, born in Brooklyn, New York, Coney Island, the youngest of nine. I had a brother by the name of Joe who would set me, when it was his time to babysit me, who would set me in front of the TV and comic books, which started me dreaming, reading, going into other worlds and galaxies. I am a Marvel and DC fan. I'm not a fanatic. I am a fan. Um,
okay.
so was in New York, left New York when I was around 6, moved to Camden, South Carolina, went through the school system there. In my middle school years, we moved to Columbia, South Carolina, where I graduated from W.J. Keenan High School. But I did also attend Eau Claire High School and Richard Northeast High School before my mom bought a house and settled down. And then after graduation, I went to the University of South Carolina only for 2 years. I did not graduate. Going into college, both of my lungs had collapsed. Yeah.
What?
And I was advised to rest. And then I had mom in one ear saying, "Oh baby, you ain't gotta do nothing. Mama gonna take care of you." But I had so much get up and go. I was like, nope. So I caught the
Mhm.
bus and had a buddy of mine who went into the Air Force. He left me his car. And I went to the University of South Carolina for 2 years. And that's when Ryan Bethea and Sterling Sharp were there. Yeah, yeah. And then after that, job world. A few years later, married, uh, divorced, um, life happening. You think you got it together. In your world, you do, but you don't. Um, I was a big storyteller, a big liar,
Mm,
huge, huge.
okay.
And I think I was such a great storyteller because I read a lot of stories. I
Ah,
read a lot of stories, right?
okay.
Um, Again, going through life, being who other people thought I should be. Brent, you're smart, do this, you should do that. Stay on this job, stay on that job. My energy kept me moving. I did the mortgage banking industry for about 10 years as companies started closing down, and then we had the big belly up thing in 85 or whatever. I'm not in 85, in 95, I believe it was. But I never, I never got satisfaction out of jobs.
I agree.
I never got satisfaction. And then, you know, a few times was had people who were my boss, my supervisor, making 3 times as much and 10 times as ignorant, Um, and so I kept doing it, kept doing it, kept doing it. And
Mhm.
then I was at a pharmaceutical company. I was with a temp agency that said, "Hey, these guys are gonna hire you permanent in 90 days." I'm like, "Let's go." Knocked out
Mhm.
my 90 days. And then 10 months into the game, hey, where's the permanent position at? oh, we're doing a merger. All the positions, higher positions are on hold. And the next thing you know, oh, we've been bought out and we're going to let you guys go. So when the
Wow.
HR lady asked me what was I going to do, I said, you know something? I'm tired of corporate America. I'm tired of being undervalued um, and really not doing what I love.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm going to be an actor. And she looked at me and she said, I believe you. She said, anybody else in this company would have said that, I would have told them, look, here's where the address to the unemployment office is, and here's some companies that are hiring doing what you do right now. She said, but you, I believe you can do it. She said, several times I've walked the halls and heard you singing, cracking jokes, doing characters. She said, you got it. Go
Mm-hmm.
for it. And then after that, the first movie I landed was Captain America 3 Civil War. And I got a feature shot. I'm in the trailer. And Scarlett Johansson sits right behind me in the United Nations scene before it blows up and kills the Black Panther's father, which drags him into the Marvel universe. So yeah, that's on my, and it's on my Instagram and Facebook pages. And then after that, and that was June 24th, 2015. After that, I kept running, never looked back, got into a relationship, had an epiphany, and was awakened, and everything
Mm-hmm.
changed. And then that person said, well, you know, I don't know whether to hug you or hit you, so you got to go. So with nothing set up and all of my resources exhausted into that relationship to include saving a few things, I had nothing, got put out, and became homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the best things ever happened to me. Yeah,
All
that
right.
was one of the best things ever happened to me because it showed me the great divide between the people who like you and the people who love you. And
Um,
God showed me that my expectation is not always going to be his end result for me. So
amen.
one of the scriptures that became very, very strong to me is all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord and who's called according to his purpose. And I sat down and I thought about that one day in my homelessness, and I had plenty of time to think.
Mm-hmm.
All things. Wait a minute. So when my lungs collapsed when I was in high school, all things. When you fell off that building in New York before y'all moved to Camden and only twist your ankle when you should have been dead, all things. Hmm. Okay. So what I'm in right now is a part of all things. But I'll always be here. So when I revelation, I knew that homelessness was a part of what I was supposed to be doing because God chose me to be allowed to go through that because he knew I was strong enough to come all the way through it. He knew that I wasn't going to become homeless and commit suicide. He knew that I wouldn't become homeless and get strung out on drugs. He knew that. He knew that if Satan, if I allow you to put your hand on my servant, you can't kill him, but I'm gonna let you touch him.
Yeah.
And so in the homelessness is where all the creativity started. That's where all the creativity started. And I started formulating this plan that God was giving me. Because he told me, he said, if you build it, they will come. I said, okay, here we go. Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams. I don't have anything to build with, God. He said, yes, you do. I gave you intelligence and I gave you a mouth. Open it and use it. But this time, tell the truth. And so when I did that and approached people, I found out again who liked me and who loved me. And more people who were brand new to me, people that I just met since I started acting, they have been a cornerstone in me being who I am today. Every last one of them. Every penny that was given, every hotel that was paid for, every cash app that was sent, everything, everything, everything. I
Well,
didn't
I'm
get here
gonna
by
tell
myself.
you
Ain't no such thing as self-made. I didn't get here by myself.
what. Look when just me breathing lets you know I'm not alone. I would, without God, I couldn't breathe. You know what I'm saying? Everything
Absolutely.
is, it's nothing I can do without God.
Absolutely.
I will tell you this. I don't know if you look at any of my shows, but I just did a show probably 2 weeks ago. And the beginning of the year, I got jumped on, right? So I'm saying to myself, now mind you, by my own child and her girlfriend, her wife. So I'm shocked. I'm just bamboozled that it would be so that much anger because I want to come home. I'm bamboozled.
Right.
Anyway, as they left, I'm talking to God about it because, I'm not going to argue, fight. You're just going to get out
Right.
and take all your stuff with you. I don't want
Right.
nothing. And
Right.
mind
Right.
you, when I left my house, I left you with all my stuff.
Right.
But when you left, you took all your stuff. So I
Right.
said, okay, Lord, so now I got to sleep on the floor in my own house. That's how we're going to do it.
Hmm.
That's how we're going to do it. And so, in the midst of me sleeping on the floor in my own house, the master plan has been coming together, and I understand why it happened the way that it happened. He eliminated my distractions. He gave me time to focus and to really create the
Right.
life that I want to create.
Right.
So I had this much money left because now, mind you, they hadn't been paying the bills since October. So I had to pay all these bills. I had this much money left. And I decided I was going to start my radio station. I'm done with that. This is a network, and I'm going to build this network from the ground up. And if I have to work all night to upload these songs, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it because that's what God gave me to do.
Right.
You know, for
Right.
me to bring the light to the world, because there's too many of us, like you said, there's too many of us that know the truth, but we're not on the platform to speak it. It's so much music that is just out of this world, but you don't hear it on a regular radio station,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
I think creating a platform for people to experience something different, experience the light for yourself,
Right.
experience intellectual conversations for yourself. Try something out that you've never tried before
Right.
is the greatest thing that I could bring to the world. Plus, very influential woman. When I speak, people usually listen to me. It don't look like I've been through what I've been through, but I have. And I tell
Thank
you
God.
this, I've lived. You feel what I'm saying? I've lived. And
Right.
even when I was getting up off the floor, I was saying, Lord, I will not die. I choose to live. I will not die.
Right.
I accept this moment. And you have to accept things just as they are. I
Absolutely.
accept the moment. And I also promise never to be here again.
Right.
I promise you and myself this,
Right. Right.
and even with that little bit, go to church and pay my tithes because I believe in the Lord and I know what I can't do right now. My tithes help the church do expand and do with the things that they need to do. And I'm like at peace. Like even through all of this little stuff, there was a heck of a way to start a new year off. But it was the
Yeah.
best way. It was the best way for me,
Yeah.
you know.
Pieces number one on the list. And believe it or not, that's what homelessness gave me because a lot of people backed away, feeling like or thinking or even knowing that I was going to ask them for help. So I got a lot of peace. And the
Mhm.
people that I did talk to were the people who weren't ashamed of my homelessness, who weren't afraid of my homelessness, like it was some virus that was going to jump off on them.
Yeah.
And they have treated me the same way from day one. I've got a list of people who blocked me when I became homeless.
What?
I've got screenshots of messages from people who I helped out and who I thought was my friend,
Mhm.
from other people who they thought they was, spreading the virus to. Those people said, "Hey, this I'm just sharing this with you because I know you love on everybody. And then there were some people who I purposely cut loose because, again, my peace is the most important thing to me. If I don't never do another film again, I've got to be at peace first. That is the root of my humanity. That is the root of that space that allows me to be very, very creative when I'm at peace. I can receive, I can hear, and I can see. And I
And I
put
will
that
tell you
together
this,
and
and
I
people
execute.
don't understand how much and it's not like they take your peace. I've learned that we offer, we open ourselves up to get our peace destroyed because of our kindness. Sometimes we can be so kind to other people that we're not that kind and compassionate to ourselves. And
Right.
a lot of the situations that we find ourselves in, you hear people say all the time, well, I helped this person. When I needed their help, they couldn't help me. But see, that's how God fixed it. He fixed it where they couldn't help you and they wouldn't help you for you to realize He provides for them the same way He provides for you. You know, like
Yeah.
it's
And
okay to say no. And
let,
it takes you to go through some type of hardship to kind of really analyze some stuff in life. Like
right,
it's okay to
right,
say no. It's okay to
right.
have boundaries. It's okay not to spread myself so freaking thin. It's okay for me to have my own private time. It's okay.
It sure is. It sure is. It sure is. Um, if you as an individual, if you violate your own self, most likely you will allow other people to do the same.
Hmm.
If you don't take care of yourself, most likely you're going to allow other people to not take care of you as well. Um, I heard somebody say everybody wants something
Hmm.
when people engage. It could be conversation, it could be their attention, it could be they want to share something with you. Whatever it is, when people engage, there's always some type of exchange going on. Okay. So my thing is I know what kind of energy I give, but I also can see and feel what kind of energy is coming back to me.
Hmm.
And if you ain't got the right energy, I'm cordial. I'll smile and I'll greet you. But I will not deal with you, and I definitely won't do business with you. And I will not put your bad vibration in somebody else's
Amen.
presence. So that means I'm not referring you to anybody else.
Hmm.
Now, again, everybody can change. So if at a distance, I see the change and the vibration has changed and everything else has changed, and yeah, you look good, you talk good, and you're doing good.
Hmm.
Hey, we all grow and change and become better. But
Amen.
if you the same person that I left for a reason,
Hmm.
and I see you again, and that energy is still the same, you still in the same place.
Well, I've learned how to do this. I don't necessarily think I allow people back in. Once I call it trespass. You trespass me, you have trespassed the right one, baby. Because it ain't no coming back to me. I'm gonna bless you. I'm gonna bless your path. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna speak ill on you. I don't have nothing negative to say to
Right,
you. But you
right,
cannot be around me because
right,
around me is a hedge, and certain
right.
things I just don't allow. That's just
Absolutely.
I moved back to Atlanta, and prior to me moving to Jacksonville years ago, I was on drugs and an alcoholic. So a lot of the people when they found out I was here in Atlanta, you still doing the same thing. What we gonna do? Where we going? I'm not
Right,
gonna go to y'all. I
right,
know. I don't want to do none of that no more. I've been there,
right,
I've done that. That's not who I am anymore. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for thinking of me, but you don't have to never invite me to that. You
right,
got to invite me. That's something I
right,
don't want to go to no more.
right.
That's
And
setting a
again,
boundary.
and for them to invite you means that they think the same of you.
Thank
Like
you.
again, like you have not changed.
But you don't know me from a can of paint. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? I've been gone for years. You don't know me from a can of paint. That's your assumption. You're assuming something, and I don't like
Right.
that. Don't project any type of negativity on me because I don't project nothing on nobody.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. Oh, well, Latiska, she's back. We gonna know we ain't gonna do none of that. No, we're not.
Right. Right.
Mm. And you don't have to
Absolutely
come
not.
over here, and I'm not gonna go over there. No, I don't want to meet you anywhere because I already know the mentality. I came from that. It's a whole
Right.
nother level if I had never known that side of the world. But I already know the actions. I already know
Mhm.
that's causing havoc for myself. That's gonna be word racing, the phone ringing, people talking about unnecessary conversation. Baby, I got a whole job to do. You understand?
Right.
I have a
Right.
whole job to do because I work for me. I create my own income.
Right.
I'm not out there working for nobody else right now. So I got to sit here and I got to focus and do the things that I have to do for myself. And I don't have time for distractions. You can have them.
Yep. That's right. Them shadows.
All
Mhm.
right, guys, give us a few minutes and we'll be right back. This is the way that you can support the channel. Make sure that you go to the Amazon and get the book. We have Powerful DNA. It's all about you. All right, everybody, we are back. You know what? This week I have been talking about abuse, and abuse has been kind of trickling over into these other shows at the same darn time because I don't think as people we understand a lot of times we're preyed on by people that see we have something or think we have something and they come swoop right on in and they
Mhm.
give a little something, you know, come on, come get
Mhm.
this, thinking that you some kind of desperate Suzanne, I don't know who. But, just thinking about when you go through some things in life and you have the faith that passes all understanding, that it's going to be okay. This is exactly where I should be. And this is how it's all going to pop off. You don't know how. You don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know who God is going to bring. You never
Right.
know how the thing is going to happen. But you know where you are is exactly where you're supposed to be. That you give thanks. Like, I give thanks for everything that I have. I look around and I may be talking, foolishness sometimes,
Yeah.
but then I think, when I wake up in the morning, everything I want, I touch. You feel what I'm saying? I can
Right.
actually touch it. I can make me some coffee. I can go make me some food. I got a stove. I got a refrigerator. I use the bathroom, run some water, take a bath. So, I have everything that
Got
I
a
need,
lot. Got a
you know,
lot. Got a lot.
more than a lot of people. And so
Right.
if I focused on what I didn't have, that would bring more of that. My focus should be on what I do have
And being thankful for it. Yeah.
and being thankful for it so to draw more of that into my reality. Because
Right.
the divine, what is it? Divine substance never runs out.
Right.
It never depletes itself.
Right.
We deplete it by how we think. If you have that lack consciousness, then you'll lack,
Right.
you know. In meditation, I was coming out of meditation and I said, you know what, Lord, I done lied so many times in my life, talking about I'm broke. I ain't never been broke in my life. If you think about it,
Right.
you may not have had something at that moment, but that next moment, you know what I'm saying? Or 2, 3 days later, there you go again. The engine is started again. It's what you do with what you got, what you do
Yeah.
have, what you gonna do with it. Are you gonna keep throwing it away on drugs and alcohol? And you know what I'm saying? Are you gonna keep making these crazy decisions? Are you gonna invest in yourself? Go back to school? I don't know. Start you a business. Just walk out on faith, walk on water. It don't look down.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's what I say. I think everyone should walk on water. Sometimes you just have to be in faith. It don't allow God to have to do it for you. Because, like, when I look at the situation about me and my daughter, she should have been out my house. That's the truth. But because I loved her, you know what I'm saying?
You held
I
on. Yeah.
suffered because I loved her. And so now I
Right.
don't want to suffer. So now, God cleaned the plate. Thank you, Lord. But looking at it in the
Absolutely.
beginning, I was angry, scared, and all kind of foolishness. But to experience something like that, you be like, I can imagine. Well, I can't imagine being homeless. You know what I'm saying? So I can
Right.
imagine how you were feeling it at the moment. Scared. What's next? Where do I go? What do I do? Da da this
Right.
and up. And
Right.
having to just
Ashamed, embarrassed, and
just having
everything
to
else.
come up with stuff like this.
Right. Yeah. People talk about getting it out the mud. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm talking about not even, you just got dirt first, not even no water to make no mud with until you start
Mhm.
crying or it
Yeah.
rains. And most
Hmm.
people be complaining about the rain, but you can't get it out the mud if it don't rain.
Rain. And then you got to understand how the flowers gonna grow without the rain. You
Yeah,
got
how you
to
gonna eat them
have
collard greens you love to eat without the rain?
okay. That's look, that's my favorite. I love me some collard greens. But collard greens and kales mixed up together. Ooh, woo. Okay, now look, I want to talk about all these movies real quick. Y'all, I got the latest thing
Okay.
down, baby. Let me go and put my glasses up here so I can get all these movies out.
All right.
Wakanda Forever,
Yes, ma'am.
Jack B. Nimble,
Yes, ma'am.
the movie, Avengers, the Endgame,
Yes, ma'am.
Coming to America 2,
Yes, ma'am.
Jumanji, the next level,
Yes, ma'am.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2,
Yes, ma'am.
the 24th
Yes,
Civil
ma'am.
War.
Yes, ma'am.
Who, baby? Am I leaving something out? Hold on. We said Captain America, Contrary speaking.
Contrarily speaking, yes, ma'am.
Contrary.
Yeah. Um,
And this was all done after the age of 48. This
yes,
is
ma'am.
like this is like real miracle right here. From
You
homelessness to
to Hollywood.
making the decision, I'm going to be an actor.
Yes,
And it's
ma'am.
like the universe heard you and began to opening doors. And from one door to accomplish all of this, you've been selected for 3 major SAG film projects. This is you own 3 channels, 3 television channels. Do you understand what I'm saying? This
Yes, ma'am.
is God in motion.
Yes, ma'am.
When you said you began to put it together in your mind and just listen to God step by step
Step by step,
and
brick by brick,
see how
br-
beautiful it turned out.
brick by brick. Yeah. And even sometimes the tally of bricks still needed to remain the same. And I
Okay.
didn't have and I didn't have enough straw. But guess what? The
Yeah.
tally was met. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So everything that you need to do what you're supposed to do based on God's calling on your life, you actually have everything that you need. I also found that out while I was homeless. You have everything that you need. A lot of people don't speak their manifestation, they just think it in their head.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't write stuff down, they just think it in their head. Um, you know, there's a scripture that says, as a man thinketh, so is he.
That's right.
And in my mind, thinketh is more than just a thought. You know what I mean? There's that it when it says thinketh, in my mind, it accomplishes more than just thinking about it, just the thought of it, because you have to act upon it.
Ah,
People say, well, knowledge is power. Not if it's not applied, it's not power.
that's right. If you ain't doing nothing
You
with
just
it.
know it, yeah, but you got to apply it. So
Mhm.
when the scripture says, as a man thinketh, so is he, I spend a lot of, I have a lot of mirror time.
I do that too.
I do my voices. I do my positive speaking on my life. Um, I sing. I make faces. I do accents. I do a whole bunch of stuff. in my mirror time.
Yeah.
But I speak to myself. You know, a lot of people, because they have either seen my IMDb or they see me in a movie or a TV series, Fatal Attraction, Mr. Mercedes, um, um, The Hate You Give, Under the Dome, Mafietta, My Mother's Prayers, whatever they've seen me in.
Mhm.
What I tell people is, whatever you see on that screen, it didn't just happen overnight.
Yeah.
I had to not only say I wanted to be an actor, I had to submit, I had to do auditions, I had to get booked, I had to travel. Plenty of times I caught a Greyhound bus to get to where I needed to get to. I filed unemployment, got that, and paid people gas money to take me to movie sets.
Mhm.
I would call the casting director or email them or message them on Facebook and say, hey, you know, I don't have any transportation, but I'm available. And they said, well, Brent,
Mhm.
if we book you, can you get here? And I say, yes. Most likely the person who's bringing me to set is an actor or an actress. I'll make sure that they know what to do. The casting director say, send me the information. Now both of us are booked. And sometimes I paid, sometimes we shared. And I did it with some people long enough until sometimes they paid because that gave them an opportunity to get casted and booked for something that they didn't even submit for.
Yeah.
So I did whatever I had to do that was right. I didn't steal from nobody, none of that. None of that. If
Because
I,
it don't,
if
to
it,
me, I agree with you about the mirror because I do the mirror time and I came out of depression. So I understand the mirror. I studied metaphysics and cosmology. I've studied a lot of things. And throughout my study, I began to understand the mind. I even studied to do therapy. I know how to do hypnotherapy to help people to break those strongholds. I do all of these things. But I had to work that mirror work. I had to work all of that, as I say, pulling all that those lies out of me
right, those
so that it would
attachments,
make room for that thing to rise up. I
right.
had to do a lot of mirror work. And not only that, when I made the final decision on exactly what it was I was going to be doing, guess what? I woke up the next morning and had just decided it was already done. I had already asked God, you know, He said,
Yeah,
ask, believe, receive. I had already asked. I realized that in the morning my day was void. So that night I thought I didn't have it. And from that day, I've just been waking up as though it is so. I began to just walk in the land of being and operate and function as though it already is. In a lot of ways, it already is manifested because it's you can see it.
it's there. Yeah.
Yeah,
The,
it's
que-
already there.
the question is, how do you pull what is already manifested to you?
Ah,
So whether it's money, house, car, clothes, relationship, or whatever, it already exists.
already.
How are you attached to it, or how do you get to it, or how does it get to you?
Mm,
Through speaking or thinking, as the scripture would say.
mm,
Speaking it, there's a lot of power to me in writing things down. So shall it be written, so shall it be done.
mm-hmm,
And then actually executing it, acting upon it.
mm-hmm.
I've gotten I've gotten booked for roles where what was being casted for didn't apply to me. And then I've been denied roles to where what was being casted for was me exactly.
Wow.
So again, because I had that core understanding about all things,
Mm-hmm,
I didn't let the things that didn't come to me become an L, as most people would say. Or,
mm-hmm,
oh, you took an L, you took a loss. No,
mm-hmm.
you only take a loss when you don't learn the lesson.
Mm.
You
Okay.
only take a loss when you don't learn the lesson. If you don't learn the lesson, then yes, it is an L for you. And that don't mean love. That means you're gonna lose.
Look, though, that means you're gonna go through that cycle one more
You
time.
go, you go, and from people choosing the wrong relationships, the same people,
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't changed on the inside. So what
Mm-hmm.
they keep attracting
It's
is
the
going to be the
same
exact,
thing.
it's going to be a reflection of that mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look in the mirror and it ain't clean, clean that up first.
Mm-hmm.
Then start going for what you need to go for, especially when it comes to relationship. Especially.
I'm gonna say this when it comes to a relationship, I think you should be in a very serious relationship with yourself. And if you open yourself up to be in a relationship with someone else, you need to have some of the most in-depth conversations in the beginning because you don't want to really be wasting your time. If they're on a whole nother ship, let them stay over there. You know, you're nice.
Absolutely.
You know, you're nice. I like you, and all of that. We can be the best of friends, but you have got to have those conversations that aren't really comfortable at the beginning.
You do. And the problem is people want to live life so fast, they give up too much too early, and then things that are stronger than them physically get hold of them. And
Hmm.
that's where people get addicted, even to bad relationships. People get addicted to all types of stuff, not just drugs. Bad relationships can be an addiction. So if you, if when I was single, I used to date myself, number
I
one.
do. I do too.
Okay. Now, the relationship I'm in now is more different than any relationship I've been in. Number one, because I didn't have to walk into this relationship hiding anything. Here's all my dirt. Here's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Hmm. I can
You
only
still,
be me.
you still want to rock with me? All
Hmm.
right, let's go. So you don't have to worry about winking your eye, none of that. You don't have to worry about where your phone at or none of that. She got my passcodes and everything.
Because I mean, if you have to go through all of that, that's something you don't want to be in anyway. It makes no
Exactly.
freaking sense. Either I trust you or I don't. I don't have to be around you 24 hours a day for you to be in your space and do your thing because I have some things that I like to do just by myself. You know, I like
And,
to read, I like to go for walks, I like to paint. And you know, when I'm painting, I don't want to be holding no conversation. I'm all in my thing, what I'm doing now.
right, right. So again, it's about again, like I said, this screen is split in two. Everything in this world is a dichotomy: male, female, young, old, black, white, Republican, Democrat. There's always this split, a way of divide. But we actually have so much more in common
Mhm.
than it's ridiculous. But if you can divide people, if you can divide them, if you can split them up, if you can create doubt, or if you can create a problem and then you're the one with the solution, you're gonna get your sheep. You're gonna get
Mhm.
your sheep. But a lot of people send a representative when it comes to a relationship. They want to be who they think you should be. And some people talk so much up front, they tell the woman ends up telling the man, hey, I don't like this, I don't like this, I love this, I love this, I love this, I'm okay with this, I'm okay with this, I'm okay with this. You give that man too much information, he's going to transform right in front of you. But if you blinded by love because he's transforming and meeting the requirements on your list, you're not going
Mhm.
to pay attention to. Now you get ready to see the real him after he's snatched you in.
Mhm.
Now,
After you got
you
a little
know,
comfortable.
yeah,
Mhm.
like I tell women all the time. When I think about love, I think about, hearts and roses and flowers. I don't think about uh black eyes and blue eyes and
Being
funerals and
spoken to any type of way and mm-mm,
none of
mm-mm.
that. None of
But
that.
then I will say this, I think the more you love yourself, the more you truly know how to love. Like your love is more genuine because you pour. growing up, we poured into everybody else.
Right.
Everybody go through that phase where we people pleasing and carrying on, and
Right. Right.
everybody go through these phases now.
Right.
And then you get to a point where you have to pour all of that into yourself. And
Right.
so I think once you begin pouring all of that time and that energy into yourself compared to giving it to other people, that's when source really brings you like your divine partner. Like, okay, you finally have it. You finally got it under control. It's not about, out there, because out there is going to be all right. I got out there. But I
Every,
need you to have this right here. Need you to be
right.
true and pure and good to yourself, because you're supposed to treat your person the way you would like to be treated. So many times in relationships, I see such an imbalance. Like, hold up, why is this person doing this? And then this person, and if that's how you want to set up your house, and that's what your relationship looks like to you. But I figure, if my man rubs my shoulders and he comes in and he's tired, I feel like I can rub his shoulders too. Or we both can know how to cook. I can say, did you read this book? I just read this book. This book was great. You feel what I'm saying? I think we can both be intellectual beings together.
Right. Right.
But if you never embrace the being that you are, how can you be 100% a being to anyone else?
Right. And once I believe within inside yourself, once you elevate to a certain level within inside yourself, you it's almost like, my dietary taste had changed.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't even want to do business that's stressful. I don't want to do stressful business. When I go to film, I want to have fun doing what I'm doing. If I'm filming a production, myself and my team, Amethyst on Fire Entertainment LLC, if we're filming something, I want it to be fun. I want us to have fun doing what we're doing. I don't
I
want to be
think that
stressed out.
life is
So
that's what life is about. I think for us, we grew up too fast. We were serious too fast. We were okay. Now you're in school. Now you got to go to college. Now you got to do this. You got all these people in your ear telling you, like you said earlier, oh, I think you should do this, and I think you should do that. And that's how I got into a lot of stuff.
right,
Mary Kay and all of this stuff that I've done. None of it made my heart jump. None of it, it was something to do. Now,
right,
was I
right,
successful at doing it? Heck yeah.
right,
Heck yeah. I wasn't gonna let myself down.
right,
At
right,
the same time, I had to be real with it brought me no joy at all. Like it
right.
was draining me, and I
Attached.
was forcing myself to be drained. Like, oh, please suck all the life out of me all the
Yeah.
time.
Oh well, let me go to this meeting every week and link my neck over and open my veins and hey
For
guys,
two,
I'm
three
here.
hours. Yeah,
Yeah,
for two or
no.
3 hours.
Meet,
Yes. And I was like,
meet
mm-mm.
after the meet before the meet. No, no.
Hmm. I did petitioning where we used to get things put on the ballot. And I remember they paid me to go to St. Augustine because I was one of the best petitioners. Paid me to go down there, got me a hotel room and everything. But that third day, I hadn't been by myself in a minute either. But that third day, I was in that hotel room by myself. Some said, walk away, walk away. And I think I made a video. I did a Facebook video. I walked away and I said, you know what? I'm walking away from all things that don't serve me. And I've
Right,
just been looking at things that don't serve me, people, places, anything that does not serve me and bring me peace, joy, happiness, harmony, all of those good things from God, all those promises. Oh, I don't have time for you. I don't want to do it. I don't
yeah,
want to do it. I don't have to do it.
absolutely, absolutely. And we've already turned down some projects um that had a nice little, attachment to it or whatever. But we turned it down because the energies didn't match.
Ah.
And again, I'm not going to be stressed out. My queen is not going to be stressed out. I'm just not having it. I'm not going, as a director, producer, anything else, bring people into a project with you
Mhm.
and things just ain't right. I would,
Mhm.
I'm not going to do it. Ain't no, I would feel bad about it. No, I'm
Mhm.
just not going to do it. We're going to cut the feelings and everything else because I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So I've turned down a couple of projects. You know, we did a table read or two, and this ain't
Now,
me.
I want to ask you this. Is it strange that when you, because for me now, when I began to kind of cut people off, I was the bad person. Did your people feel like you were the bad person because these energies just they're not lining up for me? It's frustrating me more than anything. Then it
Well,
was, oh, you're such a bad person.
I put it to you like this. I've for the people who, well, what surprised me is for the people who blatantly to your face did you wrong and treated you a certain kind of way after they did you wrong, were surprised. Look,
Mhm.
you cut me off. You're
Mhm.
surprised. That
Because
that
I
tells me
honor
something. That
myself.
that tells me something about that person. So I know I am man enough. I have done it privately. I've done it publicly. I have done it on social media and called out names. I know how to apologize. I've been homeless.
Yeah.
I'm very humble. I know how to. I know how to bow my head to a child. Okay,
Mhm.
but at the same time, I know the very distinct difference between whether I offended you or whether you offended me or whether we offended
Mhm.
each
And
other.
then how about this? How about if we have shared responsibility in it?
Right.
What if I'm just sitting here and say, okay, let me see what you're gonna do. I understand what I did, but let me
I'm
see
not
what
a.
you're
I'm
gonna
not
do.
a. I'm not a waiting type person. I don't like bad energy. So I'll
No,
do.
I'm not.
Oh, yeah,
This.
yeah.
I'm not
No, I'm
saying
just
wait
saying.
on it. I'm
Right. Right.
saying, let's say if you are, I don't know what kind of example I can give you as far as um like a you know how we can all agree to disagree.
Right.
I'm the type of person that will tell you before I walk away from you, you can have it your way because it's your world. Because I know I'm going out in my own world. I have my world with me, and I'm gonna
Right.
walk out the door. But you can have it. This is your world.
Right.
Not upset with you. When I see you again, I can speak to you and everything. I want to know, are you adult enough to say, you know what, I thought about what transpired between the two of us. And we were equally, at fault. And I appreciate that you apologize to me, but I feel like I should say something to you too.
Absolutely. And usually I learned that I heard a pastor say, if you want to keep a healthy relationship, always let it be your turn to apologize.
Mhm.
Don't wait for the other person. It's
Mhm.
your turn right now. So what are you waiting for to go to that person where you know you wronged them and say, hey,
Mhm.
you know something? I said this and I said that,
Mhm.
and that was wrong.
Mhm.
Or I did this and I did that, and that was wrong. I apologize. And I'm asking your forgiveness. Sincerely asking your forgiveness.
Mhm.
You don't receive me, I'm gonna come back with a witness. You don't receive me after that, I'm
Mhm.
shaking dirt. And I'm
Oh,
good.
shucks.
And I'm good.
Mhm.
I'm good. I'm good.
Well, now,
And those kind of transitions or those kind of moments or events have been so much fuel for me because I realized after it was all said and done and I got clearance from the Father that I was dropping off necessary weight.
mhm.
Your plane ain't gonna elevate but so high with so much weight on it, period.
Mhm.
So God said, lighten the load, load lighten, drop
Okay.
it. And when you cut it off.
Yeah.
Don't be hanging around with it. Don't be
Mhm.
getting phone calls from it. Don't get text messages from it. Don't get email. Don't get
Mhm.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube. When you cut it off, cut it off.
I thought
And
about
some
that thing.
and some people don't realize if a person can reach you, they can transfer. If a
Ah.
person can reach you,
Mhm.
they can transfer.
Mm.
Close all of those doors, close all of those windows, have a good life.
And
But I
I will
have,
say
but
this.
I have to keep my peace.
I have to say this about that because I had a spiritual attack one time, and I went into my power. I went into the endeavors of who I am, and I locked it all up, meant it. And I returned it back to sender. I ain't light no candle. I didn't I
You
didn't
ain't
do
got to.
none of that.
You ain't got to.
But I went inside. I went inside the kingdom and I cut the snake's head off. Ain't none of that coming. It's
Yeah.
none of it coming. And
Yeah.
because I love you, I'm gonna stop it right there. Because you're traveling a road that you don't even understand. See, I don't like people that play with magic and all of this stuff. They don't understand energy. When
Right.
you put out negative stuff,
Right.
it's not going to that other person. It's boomeranging. That's an eternal law because naturally you're out of balance.
And you're sourcing it. You got to source it to put it out.
Mm-hmm. So since it came from you, it has to come back to you. Am I protected? At all times. I
Right.
am the light. Why would you not know this? That's why you feel the way that you feel because I am the light, you know. So I
Excellent.
understand why you feel the way that you feel. But I want you to also understand don't hurt, harm, and harm yourself because there's nothing, absolutely nothing you can do to me.
Right. 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 Right.
Now, if I was operating in some kind of fear and I thought you had some kind of power, that would be another thing because that would be a part of as a man thinking.
Right.
Knowing that I'm the most powerful thing that I know
Right.
because God is with me. Okay. I don't doubt the God in me. I don't think my God is no power. I think my God is all powerful,
All power.
you know, and can protect me from anything. I really believe my God got me, you know. So I don't give people power over like negative thoughts and comments. I used to go back and forth, tongue battle. Now I just look at you because you know not what you do. You're talking to yourself. I'm a reflection of you. How are you talking to yourself? That's a form of self-hate. How
Right.
are you talking to another individual in such an angry way, aggravated kind of way, and think you're gonna get something good out of this? So
Right.
I
But
now
you look.
know how to just look and say, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do.
Right. Right.
They
But
have
you.
not
But
tapped
but
into
you.
their
But,
heart. They don't
but you.
even know that we operate out of love.
Right.
Everything here on this planet is a source of love, came from a source of love. So if we're
Right.
operating from anything other than love, we messing up on ourselves, not on other people. It's not too much you can do to another person unless they let you in their vicinity for you to do bodily harm to them. They're
Right.
not supposed to do that. If I already know you aggravating, you got hell in you, you gonna walk up on me.
Right.
You know,
We ain't gonna
we
play
ain't
that
we ain't
game.
doing that.
Yeah. That, yeah. We don't. Yeah. We ain't playing no game. I,
Yeah,
there's,
because I don't want to have to hurt you for real. You know, I
right.
don't.
There's a movie by Michael Jai White, one of my favorite actors ever, martial artist. I love this brother to death. He's got a movie called The Hard Way. And in this movie, these, guys come in and be like, hey, this bar that you got now, my people used to own it, and you need to pay us a fee in order to be in business. So Michael Jai White walks and tells these guys this little story. But while he's telling them the story, he's taking steps. So he tells the guy, you made three mistakes. He said the first mistake is, I already know you're an ex-felon, but yet you strapped with a gun on your side. That's X amount of years. Then he said, second mistake you made is you did this, you did this, and did this. And then the guy said, what's the third mistake? And by this time, Michael Jai White was standing like right here. He said,
Mm-hmm.
you let me get too close.
Mm-hmm.
You let me get too close. So when I see that other stuff coming,
That's
Stiff
right.
on me. I stiff on me. I tell people like this all the time with a smile. I said the same distance you kept from me when I was homeless, that's the distance I
Keep
want
that
you to keep
same
now.
distance.
Yeah, same
Keep
distance.
that same distance.
We don't need no measuring tape or nothing. Same distance.
This is the crazy part. Like before, I believe, and this is just Leticia now. I believe before the homelessness and before you saw the people that were not going to be there for you, those people were the people that were in your heart that you were, wanting to remember, wanting to take with you.
Yeah,
And
wanting one. Mhm.
because they made that decision and they showed who they were to you, they blocked their own blessing.
Yeah, I went back and told a lot of people. I said, some of y'all think when I was homeless and asked you for food, money, or whatever, that you thought I was checking your wallet, and I wasn't. I was checking your
Mm-hmm.
heart.
Mm-hmm.
I was checking to see when God lays in front of me all of the seeds that have been planted over all of these years, 7 years. Now that this harvest is here, now I know who to give it to because I'm not going to cast my pearl to swine.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And look,
just
and for me, I'll tell you this: I'd rather give it to people I don't even know.
listen, and that's why we love doing what we're doing with Queen Circle because it's a nonprofit. We love to give, and a lot of people think that they got to be rich to give. No, give from what you have. Learn
Yeah.
to ask. I ask. Ebony, she asked. We asked. We sent out emails, sent out letters, say, hey, we have this nonprofit and here's what we're doing. Not what we're talking about doing, not what we're planning on doing. We're doing it. So and I know how to ask. And uh that's why I sit on her board, because I know how to ask.
So let us know what's going on this weekend. What is the Queen Circle doing this weekend?
Okay, so on Friday, we again are serving a group of residents, some of them homeless, some of them are actually in transitional housing. We're going to feed them. Um, we're going to give them some, uh, well, we always have clothes. So we give them clothes. They get to go and pick what they want, what fits them. You know what I mean? If you wear a size 7, don't grab the 12s just because they're Jordans. You know what I mean? um, so we clothe them. We like I said, we provide the food, and then we have people who are professionals in certain areas. So coming up, again, we have our resident artist who said that she wants to at least do a year with us, April Wright, and she's going to be providing art therapy. We gave them dream journals at our first meeting on December the 30th, and we told them to just start writing, start making it your own. And we realized that a lot of these homeless people have a very awesome artistic skill.
Amen. Amen.
So with April coming in, I'm hoping that part of the therapy will continue to elevate a lot of them. Maybe we can even get some of their work that they're doing um, done where they paint it professionally. We put a frame on it and maybe send it to the gallery and have it auctioned off and let that money come back to them or whatever. So um, and then every time we meet, we're bringing a new component. We're bringing a mental health component. We're bringing a medical component. Um, we'll bring in a housing component. We'll bring in a financial component. We'll bring in everything that affects the core that we believe of a total human being. We're going to bring those things in, introduce those people and those things to this population, and teach them, not just give them food to eat and then they
Mm-hmm.
go and a few clothes and they're going about their business. We want to deal with them as much as possible. Right now, we have it planned for a monthly base. Um, Again, if the help picks up, the volunteers, the resources, then maybe we can do this more frequently. Who
Okay.
knows? So right now I'm doing the cooking. I don't mind. I love it. I cooked the last time and all the food got gone. So I was excited about that. Um, we had another supporter, and I'll get you that information. Um, Brought cakes and pastries. Professional chef brought cakes and pastries that he donated as a sponsor. We had a lot of people who stepped up very quickly and said, "Here you go, here you go." We have another person that paid for transportation to bring some homeless and transitional people to us. They paid money and said, "Hey, go rent a van or bus or whatever you need." So God has been good, and that goes back to one thing that we were both talking about. Along with being blessed with what you have, and God giving you a purpose and you moving on it, you're acting on it, you're doing it, is being a good steward of what God has blessed you with, taking care. I don't care if your house was empty, as long as it was clean.
There we go.
You
There we
see what I'm
go.
saying? So what, you had to stand up to eat, but guess what? You still had food. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Mhm.
So it's being a good steward of what you do have. You got a car, wash the car,
Wash
get
it.
it, get it serviced. You know, if you don't do it, get somebody else to clean it out. I got a sister right now who helps us with transportation. I told her, I said, "Hey, I need you to come over here, come upstairs, sit down, prop your feet up, get something to eat, turn on the TV, get you
Mhm.
something to drink, and give me the keys to your car. Because I want to take it and I want to get it clean, clean."
Mm.
Yeah.
Look,
She
when
got-
I first moved back to Atlanta, I drove from Maryland to
Uh-huh.
Atlanta, right? So you know how many hours that was. That was like
And I
10 and
do.
a half. Do you know Atlanta? Oh, baby. I'm so used to being in Jacksonville where there's a car wash on every corner. You know, where you look, it's a car wash in Jacksonville. Baby, it took me 2 hours to find a car wash here in Atlanta. I said, what is going
Uh-huh.
on in Atlanta? Lord, I must have to move to another side of town because I'm used to just going up the street. They go $20, $25 to get it clean for me, make it happen. You
Yeah.
know? Oh, it was rough. It was rough. And it finally got clean. So I said, okay, so then you're gonna be all right. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But being
But I
being a
believe
good
in taking care of what God has given you.
right.
Take care of
Right.
what you
Yeah.
have. And
And that includes your mate too. You know, a lot of times people think about material things and they're talking about being a good steward, but that's your mate, your children, that's everything that you touch. If it is within your possession, your reach, under your name, assigned to you, assigned by you, co-created with you, you're responsible for it.
for it.
You're responsible for
That's right. And then I would say this, that's because guess who wanted it?
it. Right.
Okay. You want it at one
Right.
point in time. I don't get this about people. I used to drive cabs, right? And
Uh-huh.
this young lady, she got in the cab and she said, oh, I said, baby, where I'm finna take you? She said, I live over there in them apartments called Hilltop. I can't stand that place.
Uh-huh.
I said, hold up. Because you know, they did the projects, the PJs,
Yeah.
but at
I
one
know where
point in time,
Hilltop is.
you didn't have a place to live.
Right.
And you actually put in an application saying that you wanted to live there.
Right.
You actually walked into the apartment, looked around, and agreed to it, and
Paid
signed
money.
the lease.
Paid
You
money.
know,
Moved your stuff in.
and now you can't stand something. I don't get that. I
Yeah.
don't get it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like cutthroat to me. Like, how did you that easily forget the
Right.
situation that got you where you were?
Right.
You
Right.
cannot forget where you came from. That does everything to me.
That
How do
that
you forget where you came from? I could
that's
tell a
that.
million and one stories about
Oh,
where I
yeah.
came from,
Yeah.
and to see
Yeah.
where I am now. Oh my
Yeah.
God!
Yeah.
It's like thank you, Lord. It could be a whole lot worse. It could be a whole
And
lot worse.
and and you can't be uh the type of person that, you know, you see somebody else getting elevated, you feel like you should be elevating because you're working so hard and you're grinding, and it seems like this person over here is doing nothing, and they over here doing this and they over there doing that. And again, this goes back to, like I tell people, all things. You have your time, they have their time. I've seen a lot of people go to the top and fall just as fast, if not
Okay.
faster. So you taking a little longer maybe because God don't want you to fall. He really wants you to get up there and stay up there. So he's letting you see some things along the way. He's teaching you some things. He's showing you how not to be when he gets you there.
Amen.
Yeah. So like, they say money is the magnification of who a person is. It's about to be a lot of blessed people. That's all I can say coming from this end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
my
about to be a
God.
lot of blessed people.
I tell you, I I really thank the Creator. And I thank the Creator for these amazing lives that He gives us. We have these freaking amazing stories that we can tell.
Yeah.
And how about this? We haven't even reached the top.
Right.
Haven't even reached the freaking top yet.
Yeah, just getting started, really.
Just getting freaking started.
Hmm.
And the story is like, oh, like, oh my God, look how far I've come. And when you
Right.
when you look at, you know, when the thought first came to you and how, oh, now how am I gonna do this? And I don't know how to get it done, and da, 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 all of that doubt and that fear. And then through all of those transitions and things that you had to go through, it built such a warrior. It gave you so much strength. And it
Right.
it, it showed you that you could endure, and it showed you that all things are freaking possible. It's nothing
All things.
impossible.
All things.
Mhm.
All
And
things.
then he keeps reminding you, he keeps sending those little thoughts into you. Okay, now do this. Do this, pick up the phone, call this person. Okay, just ask now,
Right.
And like you said, you cannot have a problem with asking. I will attribute my being able to ask anybody for anything to petitioning, because I never really had that kind of walk up on people. Oh, I got a petition for such and such and such and such.
Right.
So petitioning, my path kind of positioned me to my purpose as well. Like he kind of broke that yoke of,
Right.
making those strange phone calls that Mary Kay,
Total
you know,
stranger. Yeah.
just
Absolutely.
making those little strange phone calls. Mary Kay taught you that too. So,
Yeah.
he kind of broke me in to doing what it is I should be doing.
Right.
So
All
I'm
all
grateful.
all all part of a total necessary skill set being developed through different moments, events, places, and time with different people. All of it to culminate to make you who you are now, to build you. In order to be able to speak to people, you got to be able to speak to people. So
Mhm.
my speaking started with primarily with Upward Bound, at the University of South Carolina, beginning with my freshman year in high school through my senior year in high school. Last year
Mhm.
in my senior year, I was student body president, which gave me the opportunity to speak to other high school students and tell them about how good Upward Bound was. Boom,
Okay.
boom, 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 boom. So again, different things to get you out there. You know,
Mhm.
we as human beings, we should never be afraid to speak to another human being.
At all about anything.
Anything, anything. A guy asked me one day. He said, "Man," he said, you know what neighborhood?" Well, I went to the store before I came to set. Made a stop in a neighborhood in Atlanta, and then when I got to set, guys were like, "Oh man, I should have stopped too. Where you get that from?" And I told them the corner store, and they was like, "You stopped there?" I was like,
Hmm.
"Yeah." They was like, "Wait a minute, you alive?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." And the dude said, "Let me see." He looked at my tag. He said, "You got a North Carolina tag, and nobody at that store said nothing to you?" I
Mm.
said, "Two people spoke to me. The guy who held the door open and said, 'What's up, big man?' And the guy at the register that said it was $5.23. Thank you very much. Come back again." That was it.
Hmm.
He was like, "Man, so many people get shot and cars get stolen and beat up and all kind of stuff over there." He said, "Man, you lucky." I said, "No, I'm not lucky. I'm
Blessed.
I'm covered and I'm blessed."
Blessed. Blessed. Look, I told you I used to drive cabs. I would drive cabs 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and the people would get in the cab. What you driving? I said, baby, I ain't never alone. I don't know. I don't even know who told you I'm in here by myself.
Right,
I'm never alone. It's no need for me to have fear in any
right,
position. My intuition would tell me don't do it. You
right,
know,
if
And
it
it's
was
been
that
many
bad,
days
right?
I didn't drive. If my, if somebody got in or something looked a little crazy,
Right.
I would pass them on by because I had to follow my guide. It's a guide in me, so I pay attention to what's going on inside of me.
That's called your GPS, your God's positioning system. That's right.
I pay attention to it, and if I don't pay attention to it, guess what? I'm gonna fail myself,
Yeah.
and put myself in real dangerous zones. Then I got to
Mhm.
call on the angels and the spirits and everybody. Oh Lord, I done found myself in a wayward
To
way.
bury, yeah, to bury you up so that you don't dash your foot against the stone. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I done found myself in a wayward way, Lord. Come get me out of this. But yeah, I think once we have to follow what goes on inside of us more than that logical thinking and
Yeah,
that projecting what we think about people.
yeah,
I cannot think anything about you because I haven't spent a moment of time with you, person to person, and I've never seen you in operational mode doing anything. So it's nothing that I could project onto you because I don't necessarily know you. I know of you. I've
right.
enjoyed this conversation we've had. I appreciate your time. It's,
Thank,
all of
thank
that.
you.
But knowing you, I
Right,
don't know you.
right.
You know,
Absolutely,
I know
absolutely.
of you. And when people
Right,
understand, you know of me.
right,
All of that other stuff, that's what you projected onto me. That's what you have going on with you. That's why I don't have time to try to be what it is you want me to be. I can only be what you think I am anyway.
right,
And when you get to that point of I can only be what a person thinks I am to them, whether they're right or wrong about me, that's their own evaluation because we all do it. We just look at people and judge. So if your
absolutely.
judgment is all the way to the left, I'm not going to sit there. I don't have time to argue with you. Let it be so. Just let it be so. It's too many other people that I can interact with that don't even have that projection. You know, and if I can look at you and you coming out of and wearing whatever you want to wear, and I hang with everybody. I'm like Jesus. I hang with everybody.
Right,
Nobody is too high, and nobody is too low for me to kick it with them. Okay.
absolutely.
If I can kick it with anybody without projecting a thing on them, and I just see them as a freaking human being, what is your name? Why are you here? What you doing? Boom, boom, boom. Just casual conversation. Why is it we don't? Why can we not do that? I mean, it's like natural to me though.
Yeah, everybody's got a part of. People with everything from uh, government conspiracies to paranoia to fear. I was taught that fear was false expectations appearing real. I
Mhm.
also was taught that the more knowledge you have about someone or something, it removes the fear. If you don't know,
Mm.
you don't know. If you see something you've never seen before, somebody tell you to touch it,
Okay.
most
I,
people gonna be like, first of all, what is it? Have you touched it? You want
Now
me
I
to
want to
touch
say this. I don't know now because we live in a society that's being led. I'm just gonna tell you.
Well,
I
yeah,
see so
yeah.
many people doing what somebody says to do,
Well,
and
the scripture talks about that too. It says the generations will become, you know, wiser but weaker. So we now are part of the technological age where these kids can do all kinds of stuff. They can make movies with cell phones and all kinds of stuff. But if you look at them socially and how they interact with each other, there's a very low moral compass. There's a
mm,
very low moral compass, and it's by design because you know just as well as I do, there are demonic forces in place that are in high places,
mm-hmm,
and they have an agenda, and they push that agenda through anything that whoever they want to destroy, whatever that majority is, they find what that majority is doing, what they're buying, what they're reading, what they're listening to, and that's what they impact. I just sat down and thought, it was today or yesterday, me and my queen were talking, and I said, do you realize how many cartoons that I grew up on? that now that I think about it, were
Violent.
actually violent.
Yeah, violent.
Violent.
Mhm.
I was like, wow, Popeye and Bluto was always fighting.
But wait a minute, have you ever thought about Mother Goose? Mother Goose was something else too.
What?
Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown. Well, your crown is your head,
Your
ain't it?
head. Yeah,
You feel okay? Or what was the other one? It's raining, it's pouring. The old man is snoring, bumped his head when he went to bed and couldn't get up in the morning. So was he dead? That's why he
right.
couldn't get up.
Was he in a coma?
You know, and thinking that those are the things that we taught our children.
Repeat, 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 repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner.
Mm-hmm.
Bugs Bunny
Dressing
and
in drag. Look, dressing in drag and doing all kind of stuff. Yeah.
Tom and Jerry.
Wait a minute. I never, for years, I did not know Tweety Bird was a boy. I thought Tweety was a girl for so many years. And when I found out Tweety was a boy, I was like, you have taken away everything from me.
Well, again, they had a lot of them cartoons doing a whole lot of lip smacking and a whole bunch of other stuff. Put one
Mm-hmm.
right there, and even the language for it to be a cartoon that a child is listening to, some of the, but and now that has filtered into the stuff we see now. You got uh animated stuff that has got a child's name on it as the title, but they got some stuff in there for the grown-ups too. They got the whole family
Mm-hmm.
in the cartoons right now.
I remember my grandson was playing this game called Mama. And honey, he was going crazy about this little game called Mama. Grandma, I need your
Mama,
phone. Mama. I get the phone because now I want to know what this mama is about because baby, you just worry me about to get my phone. I get it. He playing a game about ghosts. Like spirits walk through a house and they trying to kill these spirits and stuff. Some little game called Mama. I
mama.
said, baby, you don't need to play this. This is something I don't think you need to play. And I don't mind what you play, but I don't think you need to be killing nothing and playing with spirits and stuff like that. I don't know who thought of this game.
Right.
Like a lot of little games, I don't mind the kids playing the games, but don't play it for hours and hours and hours on end. Read a book, go outside, connect to nature,
Oh
learn
man,
how to cook, go in the kitchen, be creative, paint. I don't know what else you can fill your day up with, but it does not have to be video games all day.
we were forced to go outside, and I loved it. We got upset when we couldn't go outside.
Hmm. But
If
then
it
guess
was,
what?
if it was raining, we used to beg sometimes just to go sit on the porch. And if it wasn't lightning, we were allowed to. That's how much we love the outside.
Because that's what, look, we are all connected to nature and everything else. So that's what life is outside.
Yeah.
Okay, it's outside. So if you're a person, you never leave your freaking house, you are really in your own self-imposed prison. And then you have to ask yourself the question, why am I locking myself in the house? Or why am I looking at television all freaking
All
day?
day.
And then what are you looking at on television all day? Are you looking at westerns where everybody's getting shot up and killed? Or are you looking at movies where it's just horror? And then you begin to see that you're programming yourself. It's not like somebody else is programming you. You're picking up the freaking remote and you choosing the channels all day, even the music you listen to. Who chooses the channel for you? And if you know that what you're listening to, music can take you anywhere. I love music. Music is universal.
Mm-hmm.
But I know when I was in my Hellcat days, I know the kind of music I listen to.
Right.
You better not. Don't try me. That's what I listen to. And then as I changed my vibration, I still like bass. You can't take my
Right.
bass away from me.
Right. Right.
But the words had to change up. I had to
Yeah.
realize what I was pouring in me was really pouring out of me at
Right.
the same time. Even though it was
Yeah.
coming in, I still had that attitude coming out into the world. So the more I began to read my Bible and change my music up, and then I got to a point where I didn't even want to hear nobody else's words. Just let me hear the music because
Oh yeah.
I didn't want anything else to pour into me. You know, anybody else's words. I just wanted to be clear and getting to that point where, and then I heard about this place called Visapana. Have you ever heard of that?
What's it called?
It's Visapana.
No, I haven't heard
It's
of
a
that.
meditation camp.
Mm,
Anyway, when you go into this camp, there's no speaking to the other people there. All you do is just you go meditate. You go as long as you want to go, stay as long as you want to stay. They ask you for a donation when you go into the door. They give you like a brief description. You have to turn in all your cell phones and everything, but you have a set time to wake up, drink tea. I think they wake up like 4 o'clock in the morning. You drink tea, you meditate until maybe 6 or 7, and you have like a light breakfast, and you meditate some more. But that's all you're doing is meditate. So I'm saying to myself, I wonder what that would be like to be around people and not interact at all.
mm,
No interaction. I see you, but don't see you. And
right.
I've met so many people that have actually done it, and they tell me it really freed their mind. Like they
Wow.
came back into society, like because I guess you kind of realize you're not missing anything, and then you understand that a lot of things are being poured into you.
Right. Because
You know, that's when you
you've quieted all of the other voices. But there's
Mhm.
one voice that's always speaking to you. Question is, are you listening?
But the question is, how many of the other voices are talking over that,
Right. Can
talking
you
over
hear
that
it?
voice?
Right. Right.
Yeah. And then I would say this, how about this? Write your dreams down. Because now the Lord know that your mind is clouded during the day. So that's when your subconscious mind becomes awakened and it tries to show you things. Like a lot of things I see before they freaking happen. I don't open my mouth. I just see, oh, this is finished. Oh, I already saw this. Some people call it deja vu. You know, that's when you have those little split, little sections. But I actually see things before. I already know how it's going to end. I know how it's going to start. I already know. And I would say when you have those dreams, to wake up in the morning and write them down. Don't say you're going to remember because you're not going to remember. Keep you a pad. What is that? Okay, look at that. What is that? The Joseph Journal.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah. Get you a pad, get you a Joseph Journal, and write your dreams down. Write your imagination down. I walk around with a little recorder, and I have a recorder on my phone now when I leave it in my other purse, like if I carry a purse somewhere. And every time I have something, I just say it into it because I don't want to forget it. I've so many beautiful things have flowed into me. And because I didn't stop, drop, and roll at that moment and do it,
Right.
I'm like, Lord, who did you get at to? Because you gave me a good one now. Let's see.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get it right. Recordings. Recording.
Okay. Yeah.
Recording. Yeah. Yep.
Just
Recordings.
just
Yes,
write it
ma'am.
down to keep you a pad or something. But God gives us plenty of inspirations. I did a show last night. The young lady was talking about when she gets in the shower. I said, girl, that's when God talked to me when I'm in the shower or in the kitchen cooking or
Yeah.
gardening or taking a walk by myself. Anytime I'm by myself, that's when God talks the most. Probably talks when the other people around me too, but I can really, it's really clear. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And
Right.
it's not
Right.
that distortion. And I think mental health is something serious we need to discuss too.
Absolutely.
Mental
Absolutely. I,
mental
I
health is something serious.
I always tell people, if you don't do anything else, please try to protect this. When I was homeless, I had the thoughts of suicide, probably like most people do.
Mhm.
Oh man, I'll blow my brains out. Maybe I'll cut my wrist.
Mhm.
I've never taken a gun and put it to my head. I've never taken a knife and put it to my wrist. But have I thought about it? Absolutely. But when the thought came, I sat there and I laughed a little. I chuckled. I was like, I said, get rid of all of this. Man, please, you better
Mhm.
go ahead on with that BS. Then I
Yeah.
get back to it. I grind even harder after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Uh,
But then
Your
that's when you, I guess, in your lowest point, that's when you really found your value. You know, like a lot of times we just look over, really and truly look over ourselves, and it takes a low point for just for us to pull the value out within ourselves. Like, oh no, I deserve better than this. Oh, I
absolutely
should have this, and I should, you know what I'm saying? It's things, and but you have to get in that point, into that point where you get you. I guess you get established in that. Like, I'm not gonna. I don't want to entertain nothing if it's not about the up. You know, I want
right,
to be up and stuck like Cardi B. I want to be up and stuck,
right.
not coming back down.
You start chiseling. You start chiseling away at anything that doesn't look like what God sent you to go get. You start chiseling it
Mhm.
away. That's people, that's things. You know, uh, when I was in that place of homelessness, I could sit back and look at people who had the things that I didn't have.
Mhm.
But one thing I noticed is they didn't have the peace I had. They had the
Mhm.
things, but those things that they had didn't come with peace. It came with arguments about what happened at the job, what happened, who we got to pay this broke, oh my goodness, da 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 da. When I went to
Mhm.
Jamaica, I sat between two old Jamaican guys who, and they told us to stay close to the resort area, and I was like, I'm not going to be afraid of my own people, so we went outside of the resort area.
You
Went to
hard headed.
we went to their market so that the money that we spent went directly to them.
uh,
The resort already had gotten enough money. So I asked them, I said, tell me about Jamaica. And the guy said, you Americans work 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. You work overtime. Sometimes you got to work on holidays, birthdays, on the days of the deceased in your family, things that you want to celebrate as a memorial. You can't even do it because you got to go to work
mhm.
to pay for your big houses, your fancy cars, your fancy clothes, your name brand shoes and skirts and dresses and outfits and all that stuff. And he said, we don't have to worry about none of that.
Mm.
He said he said, if you can't get done what you need to get done when the sun is up,
Mhm.
then it don't need to get done that day. Let it wait till the next day.
Now I agree with that.
He,
I
he
agree.
said, he said, he said, everything here is irie. He said, if we want light after the sun goes down, we know how to light a candle. We know how to light a torch. He said, but we don't. He said, so we get our rest and we eat off of the land,
Amen.
not a whole bunch of, he said, preservatives like you have in your food. None of
Mhm.
that.
Mm.
Everything's irie. Everything. And I thought about that. I was like, wow, this dude is right. At least because the total trip probably like 3 grand for two people. You know, all of this, all of that. Hey, sometimes it's the simpler things in life.
That's it.
The simpler things in life. I get teary eyed when I see a post on social media where someone says, "Hey, you know something, Brent Gaskins, thank you because you did this for me.
Mhm.
You helped me get casted in this movie. You gave me an opportunity. You sent my music somewhere and it got picked up. Whatever." When a person just says thank you,
Thank you.
man, that means so much to me, man.
Mhm.
That means so much to me. You
Look,
know,
I've
and
told this story several times. Let me tell you, I told this story several times. My son used to call and ask me for money all the time, right? And
it,
so I would send him the money. And my daughter, she would say, we were on the phone, and she said, yeah, he be calling me, asking me for money too. He's the youngest. He be asking me for money too. I said, he'll never say he thankful. So I'm in meditation. God telling me, there's a lot of things I do for you you're not thankful for. You haven't even said thank you for. So why do you want something that you're not willing to do first? And
right.
that's when I begin to understand the law of forgiving,
Hmm.
not forgiving like in a, oh Lord, forgive me, but
Right.
no, be that thing that you desire first.
Absolutely.
be it first. Don't wait for it, because you may wait forever. Just be it first.
And that goes back to the mirror. Whatever you see in that mirror, whatever you hear when you speak to your reflection in that mirror,
Mhm.
all of that is a collective of who you are. And so when you cast your bread upon the waters, you expect something to come back to you.
Mhm.
But if you send that boat out there with nothing on it, ain't got no bread or nothing on it, good luck if something comes back.
Mhm.
Good luck digging holes in the ground and putting no seed in it whatsoever and covering it back up and expecting a harvest. Good luck with that.
Mhm.
Good luck with not taking bait and hooking it on the line and throwing it in the water and expecting for a fish to just jump up out of the
Yeah,
water right
to
there by
get it.
your feet so you can go and eat it. Good luck with
Mhm.
all of that. You have to plant and you have to do your part.
Yeah, you have to get
God
uncomfortable.
said one one plants, one toils. Everybody has something to do,
Mhm.
but you got to still do your part first. You got to plant a seed. People be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, harvest season, harvest season." Brent, when is your harvest season? I said every day.
Every day.
And they're like, "Whoa, what do you mean?" I said,
Every
"See,
day.
y'all been trained by this world to think that a season is just 3 or 4 months
Mhm.
because that's what you've been trained to on a calendar."
Mhm.
But the spirit world told me that if I plant a seed every day and I continue to do that,
Mhm.
eventually I will have a harvest every day. And even when I can't plant no more,
Mhm.
harvest will still be coming. And even though it may not come to me, it may come to my children, my grandchildren, my friends, the people that helped me to create
Mhm.
that harvest. It may come to them. Who knows?
Mhm. Because now
But
a
yeah,
seed, a seed is a thought. Every thought trickles down to your heart. That's a heart's desire. Source is saying, "Oh, that's what you want." You know, your subconscious mind saying, "That's what you want." Okay. Now, what are the seeds you're putting in?
right.
I did a sermon talking to my ladies. So many women look in the mirror, they don't even like what they see. They want to fix everything about them. You're made in the freaking image of God. There's nothing wrong with you. But you have to know that for yourself.
So,
If you can't accept you, how in the world can anybody else accept you? You got to accept you first.
right.
That's men, women, children. You got to know that you're good enough, you're pretty enough, all of these enoughs. You
Society, yeah.
you established enough just as you are. You know, if a person gonna like you, they're gonna like you. You don't have to have a heck and a whole lot for them to just sit down and hold a conversation with you. Become a friend or befriend you, not knowing, where it may lead to, but it is what it is. You are who you are. I don't know what time we're gonna spend together, but you are who you are. So I'm gonna accept you for who you are. And after we spend this time together, guess what? I know exactly where you fit in my life because I have a friend for this, and I have a friend for this, and I have a friend for this, and I have a friend for this. And I don't sit at the table with all of them at the same time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This
Right.
friend knows this about me. This friend knows that about me. This friend
Right.
knows this about me. So that's my safe zone, my safe place, the safe person to talk to about that
Right.
particular thing.
Right.
But to put them all at the table, I don't know if I put them all at the table. Ain't
Yeah.
nothing bad going on, but you just may not want to just put them all at the table. And I
Yeah.
don't think that everybody that all of my friends need to. I've always been like that. Like, why do you need to know them? Why is it so imperative that you meet this person? Well, you always talking about them, now this, that, and okay. I don't know what I don't know why it's so imperative for you to
Yeah.
actually
When it becomes,
physically meet
yeah,
this person.
imperative is, yeah. That's yeah. When it becomes imperative, it's like,
Yeah,
who sent you?
yeah. What is this about? What y'all want to talk about? But Brent, I would like to say thank you so very much for coming to the show. And the next go round, because this is season 2 of the flow.
Okay. Okay.
Season 2 of the flow. So
Okay.
you are like my fifth or sixth guest. I really appreciate you coming on here, helping me with season 2. And it
Thank
had a
you.
lot to do with the Lord because I'm just going on, I'm on the Facebook page. I said, oh, I'm gonna ask him because
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe in giving people inspiration. And
Yeah,
I didn't even know your story at that time, you know?
yeah.
And you have inspired the ookie dook out of me and let me know that everything is gonna be okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You are 1000% of who God created you to be. And I keep telling people, the bumps and the bruises are really only nudges to line you back up on the path you're supposed to be on.
Mm,
Because if you weren't protected or covered, you wouldn't be bumped and bruised. You would just crash, and that'd be the end of it.
mhm.
Because I keep telling people, I say, if the enemy has an opportunity to take everything away from you, including your life, you think he would pause in doing that? You think he would hesitate or you think he would say, oh, well, no, God, I ain't going to touch them right now. I'll do it later. If given that opportunity, do you think he would wait?
Oh no, he gonna do it because heaven is at hand now. See, he know that heaven is at hand now. That is the only time that matters is now. It's no wait. And people have this wait spirit about them, even in the church. When you said prayer, and so they give you, dates, 3 days, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, stuff like that. No, heaven is at hand now.
Now,
You're supposed to expect God to answer your prayer when you pray. And it's not about three weeks from now, 3 days from now. It has nothing to do with time. If you want to put a time on it, you can, but you should expect God to be who God has been to our ancestors and everybody else.
well, here's
A
the thing.
mover, a shaker, a impossible, it's an unstoppable force, can do all things. Nothing can, if it is so how would you put a time limit? Why would you even do that?
I call it, the Bible acts as, the Bible speaks about right now faith. Okay.
Hmm.
Right now faith. So why are you always having right now faith, but expecting a delayed or deferred blessing? The two just don't, again, like you said, let God be God. His ways are not our ways. Don't put no time on it. God, whenever you say, that could be right now. That could be as soon as you finish saying
Right
your
freaking
word.
now.
Oh yeah, I think in about 10 years, God will have me where he want me to be. You think that's your opinion. Why would you even release that? That's just a thought. Keep
And
that to
then
yourself.
how about this? How about when he created you, he attached all this beautiful, elegant stuff to you. When he thought of you and formed you in your mother's womb, all of these things were being formed in you. And so, why did you put that kind of date on something that you were freaking born with?
Right. You not the creative, even you not the creative time. You're an effect. You there are certain things humans effect and certain things humans control. And what we control is only limited for the most part to the physical side of who we are and what we do. But spiritually, we can affect every single thing that we touch. So it becomes it becomes a base root of who are you to begin with? Are you here or are
Mm-mm.
you here? Where do you operate from?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
That's going to determine where you're going.
Hmm.
You're not going to get to New York jumping on 95 South. You'll never get to New York.
And then, how about on a spiritual level? I'm the vessel. The vessel is a ship. The ship is carrying something. What is the ship carrying? The Trinity, the all, the one, the one that's in the one of all. So for me to disrespect or dishonor somebody, it's me dishonoring the God in you. I bow down and I bless the God in you. I honor the God in you. I honor your path, the path that you had to walk. It's a part of God in you, period.
Right.
So on a conscious level, that's what we should be operating from. That will make you want to operate from this space right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand when Jesus was on the cross. He said, Father, forgive them because they know not what they do. If I said to you, if Jesus said, the Father is with me as he is with you, why are you skipping over that scripture? Why are you skipping over
Why
scriptures?
are you skipping over that we were created in his image and in his likeness? And why are you skipping over he's done these things, but he said we shall do greater things? Why are we skipping over that?
Yeah. Or what is it? Isn't it not written that ye are gods and all scripture is true? You know, all of these great scriptures that tell you who you are. And even Paul would come back in the Bible and say, if God be with you. Or then you would read, if when you read the Bible, you'll hear him say, my God this, and your God, if your God do this, and if your God do that. Because we all have different concepts of God.
Right. Who are you?
Everybody,
Right. Yeah.
everybody, and I want you to understand, God is not upset because look how many names God has. You know, God has thousands of names, like all kind of religions and everything else. And you
Right.
have to do this with that one, and this with that one, and this with that. But that shows you how allowing God is. You know,
Right.
because life is given to you according to your belief. So why is it we're not that allowing with one another, or that forgiving, or that compassionate, or have that much empathy for another human being that may be stumbling, that may not be where you are, and it may not be nothing that you can do about it at this moment, but send out compassion, send out love.
Right. Right.
Nothing
Right.
physically for you to do, but to bless their path.
Yeah. And one other thing I did come to a realization is that it's one thing when I ask for your help not to help me. And it's another thing for me to ask for your help. And not only do you not help me, but then you talk about me in a bad way. So I learned that there were some people who had good intentions and probably wanted to bless me, but it wasn't in the plan for them to do so because of something that I had to learn in the homelessness, or maybe I was getting comfortable because I knew I could depend on this person right here. And God said, no, I know that you can go to this person. Let me shut that down
Mm-hmm.
because I need to stir up something that's inside of you in order to
Mm-hmm.
teach you another way how to get it, other than just keep. You're not learning how to fish going to this person because they keep feeding you fish sandwiches anytime you want.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I need to shut down their store. So when you go to
Mm-hmm.
them, their store is closed.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to go and pick up a stick and tie a string to it and put something on it and throw it in the water and hope you pull out a piece of fish yourself. Now you also too got to build a fire and all this and that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Because
So
do you think it's because we were taught to be codependent?
we were, we were, and there's a certain expectation that comes with the word family and friends. Associates have a little bit of leverage, but a family and a
Mm-hmm.
friend, we have a different expectation of them. Just like there's a different expectation for the minister of music versus the pastor.
Mm-hmm.
They are both in ministry. They're both responsible for nurturing your soul, whether it be through music or through the gospel of the word. So
Mm-hmm.
there shouldn't be a difference. But in the humanness of things, because in humanity, when man decided that he was going to be greedy, he had to create division, and in that division they created levels. So as people achieve, whether it's in the church or on your job or in society, customarily when people start to achieve and get titles and advance, so to speak, there's a certain energy that can come with that. And if you're not careful, you can end up in the wrong direction with something that was considered to be a blessing for you. So
Mm-hmm.
you a lot of times a denial is just a delay. It's not a no,
Mm-hmm.
it's a delay. The
Yeah.
inevitable is coming, but there's certain steps that you have to walk, certain paths that you have to take, certain people you're gonna have to meet, and all
Mm-hmm.
that good stuff. And I can see now in 2023 versus 2022, I'm sorry, um, 2015.
Okay.
So 2015 was when I became homeless. Fast forward 2023. Wow, how did I get here?
Mm-hmm.
This is amazing. But I am aware that I'm here. I know that I'm here.
Yeah.
And I know what my responsibility is before I physically leave this earth. And
Amen.
I don't take that lightly. A lot of people, they don't want to hear the homelessness story because they weren't
Why
there to
not?
help. Because they weren't there to help. They weren't there to help. They're still around, but they
Mm-hmm.
weren't there to help. They didn't help at all. So they
I,
don't
you
want to
know,
hear
that
it.
does something to me. I was
Yeah,
in front of a restaurant one day, and I'm not bragging or boasting, but it was a church-based restaurant in Jacksonville. This guy, I'm walking up, he come up on a bike, and he out there asking people to buy him something to eat. So I said, well, shoot, go get this man something to eat. He hungry. I said, come on in the place. He was like, they're not gonna let me in the place.
right,
They're gonna let you in the place because you're going in the place with me. That's how
right,
they're gonna let you in this place.
right.
So we stood in the line. I got to know him a little bit, and I asked him how did he end up homeless? Where was he sleeping? He said he was sleeping in the woods. I said, where did you get the bike from? And we just talked because we're
Right,
in this long
right,
line.
right.
And anyway, we get up there, and he said, well, what you want me to get? I said, I'm not the one hungry. You hungry? You get whatever you want to get. We in this restaurant, figure it out. So he's standing there, he finally fixed his little plate. I said, now get you some dessert, get you something good to drink. And so he said, well, thank you so much. I said, you're welcome. I said, that's the godly thing to do. That's the godly. I'm not supposed to watch my sisters and brothers starve. It's a thing called human rights. We all have a right to have a roof over our head. We all have a right. It's some rights that as human beings we have.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
cannot walk by and know that you're hungry and see you, and then to have this whole conversation with you, well, they're not even gonna let me in there. I see so many people talk about, well, they can go get them a job. Well, first of all, first they need to take a bath. Have you thought about that? They've got
Shower,
to take a bath. They've
right
got to
clothes,
have some clean clothes,
be off drugs and be in their right mind
some
for the ones that are.
ID, some ID, a mailbox. It's just a few things that may be holding them back.
Communication,
Okay, just a few things, and I'm just bringing it to the
transportation.
table.
Here's a few things.
Yeah, it's just a few, but not to be so judgmental. Well, they can get up and they can do this and they can do that. And they were probably, how many people I met up under the bridge that had freaking degrees?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
We
ma'am.
ain't talking about some idiots.
No, masters and doctorates. I've met a
We're
few.
talking about
Yes,
some
ma'am.
very educated people
Yes, ma'am.
under the bridge.
And you
And I
gotta know
know
some of the
this.
stories. Yeah, you gotta know some of the stories of how they got there. I met an attorney who um was going through a divorce, and the guy that was dating his wife and was in a rush to get him out of the way slipped him a drug. And the man ain't been right since.
Wow.
Man ain't been right since.
And then you see so many, like the women, some of the women are just so angry. And I don't know if it's schizophrenia because I don't want to just speak that kind of stuff over nobody, but how they talk to themselves. And I don't know what is replaying inside of them
Right.
that would keep them under this freaking bridge and in this situation. And that particular time I spent the night, it was the coldest night in Georgia. That bridge
Hmm.
right there at Grady Hospital, the
Yeah.
coldest night in Georgia. And do you know those homeless people treated me like a queen?
Hmm.
They treated me like a queen. It had gotten cold. I had a blanket with me. Another guy, his family member came to pick him up, and he was like, "All my covers clean here." And he gave me some cover to wrap up in. They got fixed, got me a chair and everything for me to sit in. I was talking to another one of the homeless guys, and he said, "Oh, Miss T, if you could eat anything right now, what would it be?" I said, well, I've been vegan for a minute, so I think I would love to have me some crab legs, right?
Right.
Because I would just love to have me some crab legs. Less than 15 minutes later, Somebody pulled up under the bridge, stopped the car, and handed him a plate. And he said, "No, don't give it to me because she our guest." I opened the plate, it was crab legs. I said, "Lord, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Lord." Crab legs and garlic butter in the plate. Exactly
So
what
they
I had said.
so they knew somebody that was blessing them with a meal and came by with a plate for you.
Hmm. And then I
Wow.
found out that a lot of homeless people are vegan.
Yeah.
A
And
lot of
and
homeless people are
and
vegan.
I've ran into a few that actually get a check every month,
Hmm.
but they don't want the responsibility of a home because of mental issue.
Hmm. And
So
then you meet those that would love a home, but because they haven't saved up enough money to get that, that down payment,
right,
that's where they are. But
because they
that's
exhausted
really
their
getting to it.
resources.
That's when you get to the people and you hold real conversation and you have some inner sight and not just a projection of what the freak you think. No, I've actually talked to these people. I remember
Right.
the first young lady that I spoke to. This young lady was maybe 13 or 14 years old. I could not understand why she was smoking crack to save my life. I had to ask her, "Baby, what's up with you?
Right.
What's going on with you? What? Come on and talk to me, because I'm everybody mama. I'm everybody mama. I want to know, and I know I can't help you, but I can help you to a certain extent." I remember I met this one lady. She had been gang raped, and I picked her up from a mental hospital. Her jaw was broken. Beautiful lady too. Her jaw was
Woo.
broken, and like she was cut up in some stuff. And she in the car, and I'm saying, "Well, who's gonna pay for this? Because we done picking up from the mental place and that." She's like, "No." I said, "Where we going?" She said, "Well, I don't have nowhere to go. Can you just take me such and such and such and such? Want me to drop you off on the street?" So I said, "No, baby, I can't let you get in my car and have a conscious mind and drop you off somewhere. Not gonna. I just can't just drop you. I got to drop you off with somebody that know you, and when you get out the car, that's better for my consciousness."
Right. They're
Okay.
gonna put you in. Yeah.
Yeah, because I see you jacked up, you messed up and got all this stuff on you. And so while she was in the car, she just began to boo-hoo cry about what had happened to her. She began, just speaking it to me. So when I got out the car, I asked, I said, "Baby, can I hold your hands?" She said, "Yes." We got out the car. As I was talking to her, I said, "God loves you. Those men that touched you, they didn't know how to love you.
Right.
And they saw a void in you. They saw something in you. They said it was okay for them to do it. I don't know if it had happened to them or what, because people do things because it's been done and think it's okay. And it's
Right.
not okay to keep
Right.
spilling that out. It's not okay." I said, "But I want you to understand that God loves you. God loves you. And that you're a queen to God. You'll always be a queen. They could never take your validation of who you are from God." And she just really went into it. And then the next time, a couple of months later, I saw her again. And she was looking so much better. And she had this big beaming smile on her. She was like, "Miss T." "Yes, honey, it's me. It's Miss T." But I think I did a lot of helping and healing when I was a cab driver, you know, getting
Right.
people to really understand how much God is aware of them. I met another young lady, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. She get in the car dead drunk, just sloppy drunk. And so she a little angry and agitated. So she's like, "Hey, my mom left me in the hospital." I said, "Oh, this sounds like a familiar story." Because see, my mama left me in the hospital. So I
Wow.
listened to her and I let her say everything that she had to say. I said, "I don't care where your mama left you. Your life is up to you.
Yeah.
Your choices
Yeah.
and your decisions create your life. This drinking and what's going on right here, that's not changing the fact that you were left in the hospital. And you don't allow that to be your excuse not to get off your behind and make something out yourself.
Absolutely. 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 There's a
You
lot of
don't do
people.
that."
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have created. They didn't create the excuse, but they're using it, and it's their crutch, and it's their go-to. And again, my father left when I was 4. I found him when I was 23, going into the military. He got murdered a few months later. I can't sit down and use that as an
That is
excuse.
pity.
Yeah, not to be the best person who, I need to be. I grew up primarily with my mom being the only parent in the home, but that didn't stop me from being educated or not attempting, but being studious and learning my education and getting straight A's and getting scholarships and all that good stuff. None of that stopped me. So, you know,
And there's
and then
nothing
I
wrong
changed.
with that. And you go into communities and they turn up on you. Oh, you think you better than everybody. No, I don't think I'm better. I think I made better choices.
Right,
That's it. Not
right.
better than nobody. Because as I was doing what I was doing, I'm steady saying, well, this is going on. I was doing podcasts back then, bringing people on air to let people become aware of what they may not have even known what was going on in their community.
Absolutely.
So if I didn't want everybody to grow with me, this probably wouldn't be what I would be doing, you know?
Right, right.
I
You do
want you to
something totally
grow.
different. Right.
Yeah, I want you to know what you may not know. And as I find out, bring the people on and I let you hear in whatever assistance may be out here. I have I have interviewed politicians and political figures and things because I want you to be aware of what's going on in your community.
Right.
I want you
Absolutely.
to be able to know where these meetings are taking place so that you can be a part of it and not just be the complainer, the person sitting on the porch talking about they ain't gonna do this and they ain't gonna do that. Well, they don't know to do anything because you're not even going to the community meetings. You're not even going
Absolutely.
to the town hall meetings. You're not going
Absolutely.
anywhere to find out anything to be a part of the change. You have to be a part of the change. You can't just expect the world to change. Oh, everybody else supposed to just change, and then miraculously it happens for you too. No, you have to
Yeah.
be a
Without
part.
without doing without effectively doing anything. And you know, I get it. Okay. Like I said, until the laws change, you know, do what you can to change who you are, to change right around you, your community, your government, your local government, spread out, but start somewhere,
Mhm.
understanding something. The people perish because of a lack of knowledge.
That's it. And I'm talking about not the lack of knowledge on many areas, in many areas. Like we were speaking earlier about voting. I don't understand people that vote. And they get into all these massive arguments. But if I ask them about the law, which they went into the courthouse or wherever they voted at, what was this law about? They have no idea. Where such and such said to vote for this. I remember I was in Jacksonville and the guy had a piece of paper and he had all these names on it already marked. And he was like, well, this is what we're asking, this is who we're asking everybody to vote for. So I'm looking like, is this shit, excuse me, is
Yeah.
this legal?
Well, who are you?
You
First
know?
of all, and what did you do for me that I should be voting for you and all these other people on this list?
Yeah, and I'm like, well, is this legal?
And now I don't know you at all, so I'm taking your word to say to vote for these people, not knowing what they stand for
Well, wait a
or what
minute.
they.
Let me tell you, there's so many of us that say, I just want to see somebody my color. That person may not have your best interest at heart, though.
That ain't good enough. That's not good enough.
They may not have your best interest at heart. And even like when you look at some of the debates, or like I read proclamations and things like that. I enjoy reading the law. I enjoy reading the Bible. I will tell you this: researching the Bible got me into the law. I don't know how to freak. The Bible got me into the law and into the Constitution, but the Bible took me from. I'm thinking I'm just gonna research the Bible. The Lord that took me everywhere else. For real. And I was shocked, like, now how did I get into this right here? How did this lead to this? But it all ties into the book. It really all ties into the book
Mhm.
because all of it is a creation. We were all created to create something. So then when you step back and you come up as the spirit is in you, you see things for what they are. Like the DMV is owned by a person. It's not a group. Everything is
Right.
owned by someone, right? So
Right.
everything is a creation, from the banks to the businesses to everything is a creation. So it's a
Everything.
creation on top of a creation, and we're always trying to make things better, right? And so that's when you step back and you go up and you look down and you say, oh, so this is like commerce going on right here. Land, air,
Mhm.
and water, which is law. Land, air, and water. So then you have land laws, you have contractual laws, you have martial law, you have all these laws. And I'm like, are the people even aware of what's really going on?
And some of
Like
the laws in the
you hear people talk about the Constitution, but do you know each state has its own Constitution?
absolutely.
It just has to be things that you have to be aware of before you go freaking vote.
A lot of people get sucked into though. See, there's a lot of wordplay that's out there that sets people up. There's wordplay and there's visuals. People hear the United States of America,
Mm,
the United States
mhm,
of America are no more united than anything else that exists in this world, including
mhm,
the religious section.
mhm.
Every state has its own laws. This state over here said you can smoke all the weed you want to. This one over here said, I dare you to even smell like it. You're going to jail for 2 years for smelling like weed.
And then if you read like the regular Constitution, you don't even have to have a driver's license. But because somebody created, you feel like, so now you have to
Entity,
pay for a driver's license and stuff
credit
like that.
scores, credit scores.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of that is man-made foolishness.
The
I don't know
prison, the
why we
prison
won't
system,
see it.
right? The prison system right now is individually owned. It ain't ran by the government.
So is that, I want to say, is that Caesar? Is that, how would you see all of this? And then I remember, I think maybe about a year and a half ago, it's a part of the government called God. Government, I had to pull out my paperwork, government something department. And I said, you mean that's another one? Another one? Then I look at it like this, everything belongs to the Father, belongs to me. So I don't really get into a lot of that stuff. Credit scores and none of that stuff can stop you. What God
Nope.
has for you, God has for you. And it's yours. And it has nothing to do with
Absolutely.
credit score or anything else. So if you depend on man to say that you can't have some, I believe in somebody that will get it to you. Get it to you. And probably get it to you for free. Have somebody to gift it to you. I've
Right.
had people gift me stuff. One
Mhm.
of my friends just got gifted a Range Rover. He prayed for a car. This is so crazy. Best friend I know. He prayed for a car, and I think he like that next weekend he went to a dealership. Anyway, he purchased the car. The next week later, he's at the church. Somebody gifted him a Range Rover. So now he does his work and stuff in the Range Rover in the car that he purchased. He was like, "Girl, and I ain't even paid the note on the car that I bought." So you have to get. I think we have to get God out of that box, saying what God can and cannot do.
Absolutely. Because again, again, the scripture says, "As the man thinketh, so is he." So if you can, if you think you're right, you're right. If you think you're wrong, you're right. If you
Mhm,
think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're right. If you
mhm,
think you're not good enough, you're right. If you think that, yes, you are complete, whole, made in the image of God and will do greater things,
mhm,
you're right.
mhm,
The
mhm.
question is, what are you thinking?
Mm. And we're gonna end on that because you just tried to close the show with a bang. Look at you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stay right there. You guys, I love you. I hope you enjoyed. This was a long one. I thank the Lord. See you later.